Hello world, welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. Today is May 5th, 2020. In my last video titled Falsification Analysis, it was my goal to give a somewhat colloquial explanation of what that analysis was. I gave a couple of scientific examples to illustrate it, and I applied it to the current mask controversy. Today I saw a video clip from a cable news organization that reported that some of these N95 masks are not meeting the quality control standards and what to look for to ascertain whether it's a certified mask or not. And a couple of statements were made, one of which was an absolute statement that I'm going to falsify here. Now, before I do that, I need to clarify a few things on my last video. Like I said, it was a somewhat colloquial explanation. I'm going to clarify that a little bit. So, what I showed you was this 3M mask. Okay. And it's 3M820, what appears to be a D NIOSH. It has the lot number on it, a phone number that you could call, and a brief instruction on how to find out how to use this, and if you don't know, to call the phone number. Now keep in mind, the ink is on the mask itself. Now, seeing as how I saw this clip, it raised a question with respect to what I said in my video, so I had to do a falsification on myself to see if I made a mistake or if the reporter just, made a mistake or didn't really do her homework, okay? So in my last video, I said that you could call up that standard. Now, that was a little bit too loose, I admit. And, but I mean, if you Googled or banged N95 or 3M820D, like I said, it would become evident that that 820D is really 8200. Apparently, the inkjet on the mask made that last character look like a D when it should have been a 0, maybe because of the rib, or maybe it was just a mistake. I don't know. I didn't really vet that nomenclature before I did the video. Perhaps I should have, but like I said, I was giving a colloquial explanation. Now, whoever saw the video, if they did Google that, it would become evident to them. And what you would find out is that it would send you to, you would see the CDC website. Now, that wasn't really too helpful either. All right. And what I was trying to get to in my last video was the actual certification standards. Okay. Whereas 3M8200 might be the internal standard of the organization or the manufacturer, based on the model number. Okay. That's not really the standard that they have to meet. That's more or less written to meet the standard of NIOSH. So in order to see what this mask really has to do in order to be a certified mask, you have to get to the NIOSH standard. So, I could have been a little clearer on that, but I'm doing so now because it's pertinent to this discussion. In any event, I binged it, and I found out it was an 8200, a 3M 8200, and that they're listed in the CDC website. But again, that's not the NIOSH standard. Now, what you have to understand, all these agencies make their own regulations, and it's called CFRs. Okay, and at the CDC website, it stated what the CFR was. So what you do is you can go to this website, ecfr.gov. So that's e-online. Those are CFRs online. And like I said in my last video, those are public. They have to be made available to the public because we pay for those. They make it difficult to find them, but nevertheless, they're available. So in order for me to falsify the statement that this reporter said, not only did I look at what I said, and I just clarified, I went to this standard to see if what she was saying was an absolute or not. And it's not. What you'll find out is you go to the CFI, you have to find the right agency. Title 42 is public health. With respect to the manufacture and certification of these masks, it's 42 CFI 84. So you find your way there. There's a table of contents, and there's different headings. But what we're interested in is the labeling. So this is what I'm falsifying. This reporter said the mask should have not the loop around the ear, which is correct. It should have these straps that go all the way around your head, one on the top and one on the bottom. That's correct. But then she said there shouldn't be any printing on the mask itself, implying that this mask that I have in my hand right now does not meet the proper certification and it could be suspect. That's not what I found. So if one were to go to, let's see, 8433, I believe, Section 84.33, approval labels and markings, approval of contents and use. So when a manufacturer files for their certification, they have to meet certain label requirements, and they have to tell NIOSH where they're going to put the labels. Now, there's certain minimum requirements. It doesn't mean they can't exceed those requirements, but the minimum requirements for a particulate respirator says the label type. It says do. You have to do the label. And it says that respirator container and filter container or filters. Okay? Now, this model number is a single unit. So basically, this is a mask, but it's also the filter media. Okay? There isn't a separate filter that's attached to this mask. There are some that have check valves on them, some that have removable filters on the mask themselves that may have other media in it to take out, let's say, gas vapors and whatnot. But this is an N95 mask, and it does meet the certification because it has the label on the filter. Okay, it is the mask and the filter also. Now, this doesn't mean that another manufacturer, okay, did not get certified without the label on the mask itself. One of the other requirements is the certification needs to be on the box with the NIOSH logo. Okay? So I believe what happened, and what I've seen many times in my career, is that she contacted a manufacturer or someone in the business and had a discussion with them about certification and how these masks were supposed to perform. It was probably another reporter or somebody of that ilk, who did a little bit of research and found out that a lot of these masks weren't meeting the quality control. Because, I mean, for certification also, if you come down here, subpart E is quality control. It says exactly what, like I said in my last video, how this mask needs to perform. Okay? And so before NIOSH certifies these masks, they get inspected and all of this process goes on, and then they get their certificate. Now, it's been my experience that a lot of people fall into this situation. It's not, tracking these technical things down aren't that easy. Okay? An example, I used to run an EVLAB laboratory. Okay? That's an accreditation through NIST. And according to that accreditation, all the standards that I purchased for my equipment had to be produced by an accredited manufacturer. Now, to a less experienced person or one that wasn't trained properly by a senior person or whatever in quality control, but was in control of purchasing the product, and I've seen this before. All right, they call up on the phone. Next thing you know, you got this product that they purchased, and it's not manufactured according to an accreditation program. All right, now what you have to understand with these masks or an accreditation program like I was in, you get certified. Okay? So what you really have to do is you have to call the manufacturer and ask them to produce the certificate of accreditation. It's either on their website or, they have to produce it to you before you purchase it. So I've called people on the phone. I say, yeah, in the catalog, X scientific catalog. Distributor A, B, or C. Oh yeah, well I'd like to get this titanium standard. It looks like, what you're saying it's a certified standard. Oh yeah, we certify that against a NIST standard. So, are you accredited through accreditation agency XYZ? No. Okay, well I'm sorry I can't do business with you. Now, another person might call and they say, oh yeah, no, we certify all our standards within this standard. Well, that may be so, but an accreditation means it has to be manufactured under an accreditation. There's a lot of process that goes into the production of that. It doesn't mean you can just throw something together and then test it against a standard that you purchased from NIST and say, okay, now it's good, I can sell it. No. You could sell it, but I couldn't purchase it because according to my accreditation, I had to purchase it from a manufacturer that was accredited. So, rather than this reporter calling up another reporter or someone of that ilk, she should have called up the manufacturer, like 3M or someone else, or even some of these manufacturers that are now doing masks. They're going to have to apply for certification through NIOSH. But, you go to a 3M and you call them up and you say, can I see your certification? They have to produce it. That's when you know. Okay, so basically, that's a falsification of the absolute statement that reporter said. It's not true. Now, and they could apply because there's a section in here that says, change of product. Okay? So they could say, oh, well, we don't want to put the label on the mask anymore, but we're going to put it on the box and we're selling it to a laboratory that has a chemical hygiene program. We're not selling it to the general public. Is that okay? Blah, blah, blah. This is the new model number for that specific product. This is the model number for the one we sent to the general public. NIOSH says, okay. So you could possibly get a mask of that ilk without ink on it. But that doesn't tell you anything. you have to call the manufacturer and demand to see their certification. It's as simple as that. Now, if 3M or some other manufacturer that is NIOSH certified, okay, and they're purchasing these masks and finding out that they're not meeting the quality standard that they're supposed to be produced to, then NIOSH has an obligation to pull that certification and not allow them to sell those masks as being N95 masks. And then 3M or some other manufacturer would have to then reapply for the certification and show that their quality assurance program is being followed. And then they might go under what's called a suspension and observation cycles. Anyways, that's just another example of a falsification analysis. I falsified myself by checking the model number, which I was wrong on. It was due to a laser print error. But nevertheless, if anyone that see that video that actually Googled it, they should have been able to find their way through that. Okay, and I think in this video I specified how to find the exact standard and how to verify whether the masks you're purchasing are actually certified or not by asking the manufacturer to produce the certificate. So this is just another example of falsification. I look at this as a teaching moment, and I'm taking an opportunity for that. So until next time, think free and be free.